HRINTRO 30 Seconds War is often remembered in simple terms: heroes and villains, victory and defeat, right and wrong. But real war is rarely that clean. Behind front lines and battlefield maps, history is also shaped in offices, in quiet corridors, and in decisions made when no cameras are present. Some moments never enter official records, not because they were unimportant, but because they were too dangerous to keep. In the winter of 1945, as the Second World War approached its final phase, one such moment took place behind closed doors in Europe. And it involved one of America's most famous commanders, General George S. Patton. This is not a story about glory. This is a story about command, survival, and the cost of truth. Part 1. The General and the Winter War. 1 minute. By January 1945, the war in Europe had turned brutal and unpredictable. The German Ardennes offensive, known today as the Battle of the Bulge, had shaken Allied confidence. Snow-choked roads, engines froze, and infantry fought in forests where visibility was measured in meters. But one man refused to slow down. General George S. Patton, commander of the U.S. Third Army, had become a legend for one reason: momentum. His forces advanced fast, hit hard, and didn't give the enemy time to breathe. Patton believed war was won through speed, aggression, and discipline. To some, he was a genius. To others, he was dangerous. But by early 1945, there was no denying his results. His army had forced the Germans back, and the end of the war was coming. Then a report arrived that threatened to destroy everything. Part 2. A file that could end careers. 1 minute 10 seconds. The headquarters of the Third Army operated out of a cold European building, stone walls, dim light, and a command staff that rarely slept. One day an officer from the Inspector General's branch arrived carrying a sealed folder. Inside were witness statements, photographic evidence, and names. It wasn't intelligence about German positions. It wasn't a strategic report. It was an investigation into something far worse: a massacre committed by American troops. According to the file, U.S. soldiers had captured a group of German SS prisoners, disarmed them, and then executed them. Not in combat. Not during a firefight. After surrender. The evidence was strong enough to trigger courts-martial. And the punishment for killing prisoners could be severe. Up to execution. The Inspector General officer expected Patton's reaction to be immediate and brutal. Patton was known for discipline. He was known for punishing weakness. Instead, Patton read in silence. Part 3. Why it happened. The Malmedy effect. 1 minute 20 seconds. To understand what happened next, you have to understand what happened weeks earlier. In December 1944, during the German offensive, a horrifying incident spread across American lines. The Malmedy Massacre. American soldiers who had surrendered were murdered by SS troops. Many were shot while unarmed. Some were executed while wounded. The story moved through Allied units fast, faster than orders, faster than strategy. And it created a new kind of battlefield reality. A belief that the SS did not deserve mercy. By the time Patton's army pushed forward again, many American soldiers carried a heavy anger, mixed with fear and revenge. And in war, that combination can turn disciplined troops into something else. Something that no officer wants to admit. Something no command wants recorded. The file on Patton's desk was not just evidence of murder. It was evidence that the war had infected his army with the same darkness they claimed to fight against. Part 4. Patton's decision. 1 minute 20 seconds. The officer waited for instructions, arrests, trial orders, a report to higher command. Instead, Patton closed the folder. He didn't ask for names. He didn't demand punishment. He didn't even raise his voice. He stood, walked toward the fireplace, and held the file over the flames. The officer froze. Because this wasn't just ignoring the problem. This was destroying proof. Patton's face didn't change. He stared into the fire like a man looking at the future. Then he said something simple, but final. There are no murderers in this army. And he dropped the folder into the fire. Pages curled instantly. Photographs blackened. Names vanished. It wasn't justice. It wasn't law. It was command. The officer knew what he had just witnessed: destruction of evidence, obstruction of justice. And yet, he saluted. Because challenging Patton in the middle of war would not only end careers, it could fracture the Army's ability to fight. The officer walked out without a word. The secret stayed in the flames. Part 5. The cold logic of war. 1 minute. Why would Patton do it? The answer isn't simple, but it is brutally realistic. Patton believed that war was not won through perfect morality. It was won through aggressive survival. He knew his army still needed to push forward. Through German defenses, mines, artillery, and SS units that fought with fanatic discipline. A public trial would send a message that soldiers should hesitate. That violence could bring legal risk. That captured SS mattered more than American momentum. Patton feared hesitation more than scandal. He feared weakness more than history. In his mind, protecting his troops wasn't corruption. It was leadership, even if it meant carrying a crime in silence. Part 6. The aftermath and the forgotten truth. 1 minute. No arrests came. No major investigations followed. The army kept moving. The war ended months later. And history, written in official reports, focused on German crimes, German brutality, German massacres. The American story remained clean, but secrets don't disappear forever. Years later, fragments surfaced. Whispers, testimonies, confessions. The paper trail had been burned. But memory survived. And the story raised a question that military historians still struggle with. What happens when victory and justice demand opposite choices? ENDNG Lesson 40 seconds. Patton is remembered as a brilliant commander, a symbol of speed and force. But this story, whether seen as leadership or moral failure, reveals something uncomfortable. Even the winning side carries shadows. War doesn't only test courage on the battlefield. It tests restraint, judgment, and the ability to stay human when hatred becomes convenient. Because sometimes, the most powerful decision in war isn't made with a gun. It's made quietly, in a room with a fire.